I don't think I know what is entrepreneur mindset. I would not claim even I'm a good entrepreneur.
Usually when we talk to founders, we tell them that, hey, don't go for the really big guys. So don't try to sell to HDFC or Kotak or ICICI, because for them selling is very difficult.
So you're talking about very actionable things. When you're starting out in that whole startup journey, small wins, you have to take that with a positive psychology, not just for yourself, but for your team as well, right? Good day, everybody. Welcome to Building in India. Building in India is a podcast that we host so that the founders across India get the best possible advice in terms of how to build in India. Today, we have a very special guest, Ankush Sabharwal, who actually started his career in the same company that I did, Wipro. Ankush, you've gone on from becoming a technology guy to an entrepreneur and building in a very hot space. You're the co-founder of CoRover.ai and BharatGPT. Me and Pushkar would love to hear what you have done and what your team is doing right now. So welcome once again to the podcast. It'll be great if you can just give us a background in terms of your journey from a career point of view and how did you stumble upon this whole building aspect and building products from India?
Yeah, thank you so much, Sandeep, Pushkar, for having me here. Okay, now I have to tell you my journey.
Sure.
Yeah. So as you said, so techie, I'm still a techie. I think, so starting my career, Wipro, 2004. I was a project engineer there in BFSI vertical, working for a bank called Key Bank. So it was great experience. I learned how to build products, how to, I would not say sell, but how do we make sure these products are deployed at scale. I learned how to talk to customers. Very interestingly, so Wipro used to run behavioral school. Not sure if people are aware. Yeah. So every day, 2 hours. Every day, 2 hours, there used to be a class in the training department. Everyone could just register, self-register, and just go there. And I'll tell you the topics. The topics are how to negotiate.
Wow.
Yeah. So as a rookie, as a kid, going there and getting exposed to these kind of learnings and win-win attitude, how to think positive. And these were the capsules.
Nice.
So so starting my career with Wipro,
And you come from Jammu, right? So it must have been a big kind of shift to come to a place like Bangalore.
How did you end up with Wipro? How did you start with Wipro?
yeah, very interesting story. So, I was doing masters from BIT Meshra, Bangalore Institute of Technology.
Sure.
Meshra, Ranchi, and during my graduation days, there was some I think full page ad came from Wipro to apply. We had applied and we had forgotten about it. And then when I was there in BIT, so they called us for the interview and we gave the interview. It was full day in Delhi. And I think almost one semester of my MCA I was doing. MCA was almost getting over and got a call. You got selected in Wipro, and this was a very interesting program of.
So that was a 2-year program, right? MCA? Or was it 3 years?
3 years.
Oh, 3 years. Okay.
Yeah. So then the Wipro had very interesting program, and they said, okay, they'll help us get MS from BITS Pilani. They used to call it as WACE program. Yeah. So then I left MCA, joined this, and they said they will tell us about the joining date. I said, no, it's selected, and I left VIT Vesta. The joining date had not come. 1 week over, 2 weeks over, 3 weeks over, no joining date came. Then I thought, and there was no point of contact.
Yeah.
So email, there was no point of contact there. Then I thought, now I started getting worried.
This was 2004. It was much after 9/11, right?
Yeah. After that. So then I was chilling out and people were doing MCA. My friends were doing something and I was chilling out. I got selected. I'm getting job and I'm also doing MS from BITS Pilani. Then after a few days of enjoying, I thought, no call is coming. Then I called. Somehow I got the board number of Wipro and said, somehow I got connected with HR. no mobile number. So some board number, some HR, and they said, no, it's joining is after 2 days. You must have been intimated. And I think there was no direct flight from Jammu.
Ranchi to you were in Jammu.
Then I left Ranchi. No, you already back home. Got it. Yes. Then said, how do I reach? I cannot reach in 2 days. Then we did train in around 38 hours of journey. Wow. So somehow reached, I think the same day I reached, and I think couple of 2 hours or 3 hours after me reaching Bangalore, first time I joined. I reached on the joining date, induction date. So interesting. I still remember it was 26th September 2004. Wipro. So I worked there for 4.5 years. Good exposure, how to write code, how to kind of, as I was saying, ship, deploy. Then I got opportunity to work in the US through Wipro, 4.5 years, and then joined a company called Mysis. Now the name is Finistra. So that also apparently was Wipro's client. So I was there for 5 years, and then I joined Altisource. Then there's a company called Digital Harbor. So I think they're the one who have started KYC, NASA funded company. So I was there for some time. So if you see, I started working in the big company and the smaller. So got good exposure, and yeah, I've been techie, and then grew up in the technology leadership, tech manager, or the project manager, architect, and program manager and director kind of stuff. So yeah, so since we were solving problems for the corporates, and then thought, why not to do something which is a problem across the verticals, then solve something about customer engagement. So I can talk about it, why I chose this sector, but that was kind of overall journey.
Actually, your story, kind of what you said about you joining Wipro, kind of naturally makes me think that you were probably had entrepreneur streaks back then, because you would not take no for an answer. You would call up, you would figure out how to get in. I think that's that whole perseverance and grit that somebody shows, that I want an outcome, right? That's what a lot of entrepreneurs do, right, Pushkar?
No.
If you think about it.
Yeah, you have to take initiative.
I see goosebumps, and literally, if I had not called, and I asked it, then if I had missed a day, said no, then you would not have been allowed.
But how big was Wipro at that time, 2004? Was it still a massive company?
I think it's still more than $1 billion.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think we were about 2004, must have been about 50, 60,000 people.
Yeah,
Something like that. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
it was.
yeah.
And did you have an entrepreneurial culture at Wipro? Like, did Wipro played any role in you becoming an entrepreneur?
So now if I look back, and yes, because how to understand client's requirement, and then how do we map it with the technology requirement, delivering. So it's, and then I remember, I think Azim Premji used to say, like, don't think about gold plating. So gold plating was, we techies try to overdo some stuff, right?
Okay.
So don't do that. Just make sure you just understand client's requirement and deliver just that. So I learned that. I have no aspiration now also to overdo and do more than what customers look for. Because even matching the customer requirement is also a big task, and why should we go overboard and try to deliver more? So at that time, I don't know, I was thinking I'm getting into that path. But now if I look back, so I met Richard Premji recently, and I did thank him and said, so all of the learning which I have, I could get from Wipro is helping me now. And I still remember my first manager, Bhushan, and then there's other first manager, Kavita, and still I'm in touch.
Same with me. I have a lot of colleagues from back in the day, 25 years back for me, 20 years back. I am in touch with a lot of them. We sometimes catch up for a drink or a coffee. It's a very close-lit alumni network as well, And I mean, to your question, Pushkar, actually, there's a lot of entrepreneurs who've come out of companies like Wipro, Infosys. I think there's that whole, you learn process, you learn dealing with people, and you've seen that thrust velocity in some of these companies in that early 2000s that have literally gone like 5x, 10x the number of people in a very short period of time.
And then thanks for adding that. So how could I miss that process? I learned process in Wipro.
Yeah.
Right. So that CMM, and then Toyota used to have that the lean program, and then Wipro used to teach us all of that. The process was very, very heavy. So even if you had to write one line of code, and it still had to go through multiple steps to make sure it's process driven, less defect, Six Sigma and all that. No, people don't talk about Six Sigma.
Yeah.
Right. Somehow hooker could deliver it,
Get it out.
it was
Place
not
it
like
out.
the case,
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
so all of that's how to build, and then during my masters, so even if say data structure program used to come in, say we write say Fibonacci series or build a pyramid or some questions, and we used to get 0 mark even if we solve the problem and if the complexity is high. So we used to get marks only when the complexity is the least.
Oh,
Yeah. So I think it's same culture with Wipro and then my education. So they really made us a good engineer first, and rest all things follow. So the foundation was really, really built very strong working in Wipro.
Yeah. I think he hit a very valid point as well. Sometimes founders tend to gold plate, over engineer, and especially if you come from a tech background, you want to build that equivalent of a Rolls Royce or a Mont Blanc pen. Unfortunately, you're in a world where time, resources, and money are working against you.
Absolutely.
You have to ship like minimum marketable product, minimum viable product, and that's something that entrepreneurs need to, or startup founders need to keep in their minds, right, when they start off.
Absolutely. And we should dare enough and even question client, why do you need it? Right. So sometimes, especially engineers in, let me say in India, so we think, whatever requirements have come from client, that's kind of Bible and we have to follow that. But no, right? So you can negotiate, right? So do you really need it, or there's a better way of doing it, or help them prioritize? So I think this client interaction is very, very important. So client could be one B2B client, or it could be, if it is B2C, it could be group of your potential early adopters. But yes, so not just follow whatever is it in the book, really dare enough negotiate what is really required, MVP.
right.
Yeah.
And I always wonder, so how, as an engineer, how did you develop this entrepreneurial mindset?
I don't think I know what is entrepreneur mindset. I would not claim even I'm a good entrepreneur. So, right. So if entrepreneur, maybe you might ask, you have become businessman. I've never called myself as a businessman ever. So I don't know whether I'm a businessman or entrepreneur. Maybe yes, with the definition, yes, but still techie, still the problem solver, product builder.
So for you, what drives you most? Problem solving?
Yes. Problem solving, and if I get kick when our customer says, we are our customer, their customers are happy and they have made some money, they had saved some money. So that gives me kick. That gives me kick.
So it's in fact, it's outcome. It's all driven to the impact and outcome.
Yes. So maybe I get kick here, and maybe we have probably less revenue. I don't get too much kick when money hits the account. That of course that follow. Yeah. But the first kick is we have really solved the problem. Sure. Now we can scale.
Sure. Impact you have created.
Yeah. That had been the mindset I'm trying to change, because now it's business.
Yeah.
We have to make money.
So that's another question that I have, Ankush. I mean, like, you don't come from a business background, do you?
No.
You have come from a professional. You told me about your father was in the services, etc. You don't come from a business background. You've had good, stable jobs in tech, and then one fine day in 2016, you decided to jump off the bus.
Yeah.
How was it socially? How was it at home? How did it affect you emotionally?
Yeah, see, I'll tell you, I never told him, and I think never told anyone. My father told me, see, you're leaving your job and you should not think you can come back. We cannot support it. Right? So, and it was difficult. And I love them for that, because they loved me not to take any, because they didn't know what maybe I was not articulate enough to tell them I know what I'm doing, and right,
Actually, in 2016, India was not such a startup-friendly country. So 10 years ago, when you left,
but still we had good, for us, we had a lot of references and examples, but not for the parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was difficult to take that decision.
But you were very clear because you wanted to solve large problems that create impact. तो कुछ ना कुछ जुगाड़ करेंगे आप, आपको पता था.
वो भी मैं बताता हूँ. See, I was not even 100% confident, right? So, yeah.
How confident you were? 60%?
Now,
No.
That back in 2016.
I'll tell you. So, it would have been easy for me. I was confident and I knew where I'm going. So it was not the case, right? I left a company and then said, okay, I started doing this part-time with a complete disclosure to my company, the complete documentation. I'm doing this. Then I said, we're getting good traction. We were doing pro bono. 2 years we did all pro bono so that we understand, we get data. All that. So then I left the company. Then I thought, paise nahi aa rahe. There's no money. Then
Then it would have hit you.
Then I joined the company back. So
Sure.
it's not easy, right? Because that's natural, right? Unless you there is no additional support and all.
Safety net.
Yeah. So revenue is also not coming. I had because I was in a good position in the corporate, and earlier I used to fund myself from my salary. I continued. Then I thought, kitna aur, how much more I need to continue funding this startup. Then I joined spoke with the boss. He said, okay, join back. Then again I joined. I left and I said, okay, now enough for now. Now I'm confident. I'll be able to do it.
How long did you stay when you rejoined? How long was that duration?
Maybe I think 2-3 months. I could not.
That's it.
Yeah. So
you're already bitten that entrepreneurship gravy train, right?
and if you ask me, did I really take risk? Not that much. I was very, very that way risk taking risk, but not all gung-ho about it and like I'll pave a path for myself. And then I'll tell you, then when I was working in Digital Harbor, the founder of that company, that was apparently the last company, he said, okay, Ankush, and I told him, this is the thing I want to now do full time. He said, okay, now I understood. You are entrepreneurial and that's why you are successful and you have helped our company. So he say, okay, you continue you be in the job and also start your own, continue doing it.
Wow.
And I'll support you. I'll fund you. I said, no, I did that already. Now I really want to do full time.
Yeah.
And he still funded.
Nice.
So I left.
So he was your first investor?
Kind of. That time I didn't understand much VCs and all that. He's giving money. I said, okay, I'll pay you back. We said, okay, there should be interest, and we agreed, okay, this much would be the interest rate. I said, I'll try to give you back in say 6 months.
How much did you
25 lakhs. 25 lakhs. So he gave me 25 lakhs one shot, and then said, okay, we put that, okay, this much is the rate of interest and all that. Then I gave him back in, I think around 1.5 years, 2 years. So in parts.
in tranches? Yeah.
In tranches. And then I asked him, how about the interest? Now, how do we calculate the interest? He said, no, forget about it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So his name is Rohit Agarwal. He's running Digital Harbor. Yeah.
Wow, great.
But I'm always curious. So for you worked for roughly 2004 to 2016, right? 12 years. So what was the trigger point to say, hey, now I want to do this?
Yeah. See, multiple points. It was not just one moment. See, I always wanted to solve the problem, even during the college days. Right, I have a close friend, and we always used to think at that time mobile phones were not there in J&K. In J&K, mobile phones came very late.
Later. Yeah.
So I always used to think, okay, let's do something else. So I always wanted to solve the problem. And funding culture was not there. Resources, we didn't have much from the family. So I was always looking for, okay, so now I need this much salary so that I can fund myself. So whenever I reach that moment, okay, itni salary hai, itna karne ke baad bhi, this much I can keep funding to my startup.
Nice.
That was one on the financial side of it. But when I was working in a company, say in MyCs, so MyCs used to claim top 50 or top 100 banks of the world.
As customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I thought it's MyCs, all banks are using MyCs software. Then if you see Finacle, right, very successful product.
Yeah. Infosys, right?
Infosys.
Bankweight.
Yeah. And now also you see 80% of the banks
Still use Finacle, yeah?
ICICI is using Finacle. Axis Bank, I think, using Finacle.
Everyone.
Yeah.
So except few. So then I thought, okay, the technology providers are same, and most of these banks don't have any banking product which is unique, right? They have this CASA and fixed deposit.
So same set of functional things. Yeah.
Functional things are same. Technology provider is the same layer. So then what is making them unique? Now then you pick up any 3 or 4 companies in each sector, whether it's about BFSI or travel or consumer electronics. You pick up, say, whatever services come your mind. So all 3 companies in each sector, they have it.
Yeah.
But still in your mind, there is this company is number 1, number 2, number 3.
You're talking about the brand point, had you right?
Brand. So they have the same products. It's more perception or more about
Experience and perception.
exactly. Perception comes with your experience, right? It was all. Then I thought it's all about how well the customer is treated, the engagement, experience part. Then I thought we should do something about experience. Why in 2016? Why was that important? Because if you remember 2016, that WhatsApp and social media and Geo. So all of
You just were coming in, yeah.
I mean, right. So now every website you see there was a social media, social bar.
There was a plugin and then chat.
Yeah. So
Chat pops up, yeah.
yeah. And so it means every company now, every consumer can reach out to any company anytime.
Yeah.
It was not the case earlier, right?
Yeah.
There were many.
You're basically open for business 24/7.
Exactly. And then consumers were also growing. So when I say consumers were growing, the reach was growing because of the smartphone, internet, and geo media.
Yeah.
And practically it was not possible to have so many people in the call center. And even if you keep so many people in the call center, that is not healthy. The people to keep giving the same answer again and again. 70 to 80% of the people who reach out to the companies, they have the same intent.
Exactly.
The questions are pretty much the same, right? Broadly, yeah.
Even if you take IRCTC, right, millions of people come.
Sure.
There are only 10 things. They want to book the ticket, they want to cancel.
That's like you distill it down to like the main things, right?
We thought we just have to figure out which are those 7, 8 things,
Sure.
and then we automate with AI.
But you say AI, like was AI a buzzword?
Dude, was it AI or was it ML?
What were people talking about it?
Yeah, but back in those days, 2016, what was the terminology and what was the underlying technology like? I mean,
Yeah, see, AI is kind of big umbrella, and then machine learning is part of it. So people were still doing AI without machine learning, right? People were still saying fuzzy logic and say they have AI, but it was not the machine learning part. So machine learning part was not so famous among the community. Techies used to understand. But 2016, AI was coming up, and a lot of chatbots used to come.
yeah.
But none of them were working. If you remember,
I remember that time there was a lot of chatbot companies.
none of them were working.
So these chatbots, were they using some form of LLM? Like how
That time it was not LLM.
Those were LLMs.
So I think chatbot started with a kind of keyword thing first,
okay.
and then the AI-based intent classification, entity extraction. We call it as
So it is still very RBMS at the back end
Yeah.
where you look and parse it, text, and then the
DBMS?
relationship database.
Yeah.
Relationship database. So you've got a set of different entries.
Yeah.
You will parse whatever you've given. And then as you say, based on this, I've got 4, 5 rows to scan through, and then I will push. It's like a tree structure, right?
that's
you
what
put
we say, yeah.
Yeah. So you put a query. Based on this query, you will say that there are 3, 4 rows that I need to populate. Then you get the user to come to the next tree, click on which. So it's like that kind of a loop.
Some pre-recorded answers. Like
Yeah.
so you have you have 1,000 questions in their answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you try to find out what customer is asking.
Yeah. So the database say these are the questions, these are the answers. If user has asked some question, then we'll map. Okay, this is related to which. We used to find top 4 questions which are matching.
Yeah.
Then with the probability match, I used to do cosine similarity and few other techniques, and then we say, okay, this is the best match of the question. So then okay, this is the corresponding answer. This is how we started it. So I'll tell you, we started even before that. So say our customers were not ready to take risk because it is still not 100% matching, right? So maybe 97% matching, and you say this is the answer. But that time customers, they were saying, okay, if that comes, and then it can become a big public issue. People will take the screenshot. This brand is giving wrong answer, and it becomes a big news. Now people make fun of it and everyone.
But who were your first set of customers for the conversational product that you built? Who were your first set of customers? Was it banks, insurance companies? Who did you go after first?
Yeah. So yeah, I'll come to that. So now then what we did, so when user used to ask a question, we used to give 3 similar question. We used to ask, okay, do you mean this, this, or this?
Got in. MCQ.
So when our first data scientist joined, because when we built, we knew engineering, we knew Java, so we didn't know even Python that time. So we built all AI stuff in Java.
Oh, wow.
And then one first data scientist joined. He said, Ankush, on IRCTC, this chatbot is not working. I said, what do you mean? It's otherwise it would have been big escalation. I said, send me this screenshot. He sent me a WhatsApp. Chal to raha hai. He said, no, I asked a question. It didn't give me answer. It gave me 3 questions. I said, yeah, click one of those. You know what I mean? Because that time we didn't have data to back up.
Feed it, yeah.
So we started from there, and see, we took time to build this platform, and then for us, we were very, very clear. This AI platform is as good as the data it has. It's not just you have
Exactly.
algorithms and all that. So then we approached big companies like IRCTC and Karnataka Tourism and Red Bus and Naukri and all big companies, LIC. So, and a few companies agreed, but still agreed to meet first. And then again took a couple of years to convince them, and then went
The
live.
challenge of enterprise sales, yeah.
So enterprise is a good thing. Once you solve a problem for one customer, it's easy reference and others would try to solve it.
But do you think like at that time it was the right strategy to go after the big customers? Was it very challenging to convince them?
It was. And
The next question is, how did you sell as a founder, essentially?
A lot of advice, or usually when we talk to founders, we tell them that, hey, don't go for the really big guys.
Sure.
Don't try to sell to HDFC or Kotak or ICICI, because for them selling is very difficult. First, try to sell to other startups. You did something totally opposite.
I don't believe in that much, because see, selling is, say, whether I sell it to small guy, big guy, even if I take 100 rupees, it's big amount. No one will get just 100 rupees because I have millions of rupees in my bank account, right? Even getting 100 rupees, it's absolute. People would, when they give 100 rupees, they would not check this 100 rupees is a kind of percentage of how much in my bank account. It's 100 rupees value, right? See the absolute value. It's same.
Right.
But when you get that, so if you're selling that 100 rupees work to a big company, then the potential to scale is huge. My experience is taking even 100 rupees from small company, big company, say.
Okay.
So better to invest where
to the
the
big
scale is there.
But are sales cycle longer if you're
It
selling
is,
to
yeah.
large companies?
It depends. Our first sales cycle, see, I'm not the representation of the all.
Right.
Because our experience is, first sales cycle was huge, 2.5 years.
Wow.
But after that, we went live in a week's time.
Wow.
LIC, went live in 3 days. So first it took time because we were also new. They were also new. The industry was new.
Sure.
And it took time, but it paid off.
But how did you motivate yourself for 2.5 years?
Yeah.
Kept yourself.
That I do with you. See,
How big was your team back then,
3
Ankush?
people.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you go through compliance of large companies with a 3-member, 4-member team, right?
Traveling from Bangalore, Delhi, we used to. So we, I think we did not focus much ki paisa kitna ja raha hai. We did not used to think ki how much of the expenses. We've focused on, okay, this is the potential, this is the revenue. So even if you have to travel maybe twice a week to Delhi, we used to just go. And our kick was not getting the order, though that was the outcome or the final the moment to get us. Even someone saying, "This is good, this is working good, this is good thing you're doing." We used to be happy. So in this meeting, at least this thing has happened. First we were happy, okay, we got a meeting.
So you're talking about very actionable things. When you're starting out in that whole startup journey or a business journey, those small wins, you have to take that with a positive psychology, not just for yourself, but for your team as well, right? So that slowly compounds to building trust, building goodwill, building the confidence that you are technologically able to solve a problem.
Yeah, I think thanks for saying that. See, I think we won one RFP. It was big RFP, around 5 crore work, and we were L1. We, I went there and said, okay, we are L1. There were other companies. We kind of won it because we were L1. It was a big.
Who is L1? Sorry.
L1 is a, so say, so we have say quoted 5 crore, someone has quoted 6 crore, and we are L1, we are the least
Okay.
bid.
So lowest quote.
Lowest score, okay. Lowest score, lowest.
Okay.
Yeah. So before coming to that, then there was a technical qualification. Technical qualification has happened, and now there are 4 companies. Whoever is the least, they would win it. And we were the least. We thought we won it because we have seen that we were L1. And I remember around 6 o'clock, and in the group that time we were maybe 20, 25 people. I call everyone, 30 people, call everyone. We won that. It's a big project. And the next day we all went to Goa to celebrate.
Nice.
Yeah, and there were few people who did not even the first time they boarded flight, and we made sure from their home that time. I think we were just out of COVID or something. From their home, we took them. We managed everything, giving them the boarding card to make sure they reached Goa. Right from the airport, everything was arranged in the day. Another co-founder Kunal had managed everything. We partied and all that, good, and then
So this is a good 4.5 years after you started.
yeah,
Wow.
so
Must have been a lot of tough days and nights building team to get to that outcome where you're kind of feeling a lot more gratified. No?
as you said, we used to celebrate small things.
That's great.
Small wins.
Small wins.
And I'll tell you, we did not get that project.
Oh, seriously?
So you went to Goa.
See, you got to go. Team morale is good.
Yeah,
Culture is great.
yeah.
But whatever you win.
So somehow happened, they said, they said, no, we have to re-tender it. That was other story, why they did that and all that.
At least I hope you sent them the bill for Goa. I hope you sent them the bill for Goa.
Yeah, see, we very disappointing at that time. And there people ask me, why do you celebrate? I said, there are hundreds of opportunities to not celebrate.
Yeah.
And then see, the opportunities to winning is less usually, right? So if that doesn't happen, that's fine. We will not say celebrate. But if some opportunity to celebrate is let's celebrate, right? Let's celebrate. Even if that doesn't happen, that's fine. So, but whenever you get an opportunity, let's celebrate. It's kind of moment to join hands, and then we believe in ourselves, and then be ready for the next. And then after that, we lost that. We got another 6 crore work. We lost that, sure, but we all prepped up. Then we got 6 crore that time. Then we didn't go to Goa.
You didn't want to repeat that. But Goa. No, so I think it kind of boils down to we are irrationally optimistic as entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
That's got its pros and its cons. But the pro is sometimes you don't see the light of that freight train coming straight at you, and you've got this whole mass of people that you're carrying forward, but you're at least able to tell them, listen, it's one more challenge. Let's get over it, right? So I think sometimes it's all about irrationality, but still us being optimistic enough to push forward with that cause or that purpose.
Yeah. I read that we entrepreneurs are irrationally optimistic, but if that has come to my mind maybe twice or thrice, I should have quit it. So I read that we probably are, but no, we always see light in the end of the tunnel, right? So whether it's rational or irrational, for me it's rational, right? Maybe people looking out, maybe outsider, they might think is that irrational.
Sure.
I don't have to make up things.
Sure.
So it's real. I see things happening, and they happen.
So it's a question of very different perspectives. Your perspective as an entrepreneur is completely different from.
I don't have to make it up.
Yeah.
Because where does this confidence stem from? Is it the person you are? Like, are you a naturally very confident person? Or did you become confident over time?
I don't know the difference. So see, I'm not faking it up, and I don't know what is less confidence.
I think you're being very honest.
Yeah. So
Sometimes I don't know as well.
naturally confident.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't know as well
But
sometimes.
sometimes if I am not, I tell everyone I'm not confident. You take
Sure.
a call.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm. I cannot label myself I'm confident or not confident. So, but where I'm confident, I show my confidence. Where I'm not, I show that. Right? I'm not like confident always. And even if I'm not confident, I don't need to show my team I'm confident here. So I say I'm not confident, you take a call. And sometimes even people say like leaders have to show the confidence and be in the front. Sometimes say, guys, this situation, I don't know, right? I'm not sure if I'll be able to help you. You want to ask me any question, you take a call. I might be as good as you taking the call. I'm not confident.
So Ankush, so what you're basically saying that as good, smart, empathetical leaders, some amount of vulnerability and honesty counts a lot.
I show that. If I'm available, I show that.
Ankush, I really want to talk to you about your product. That, of course, you're building an AI product, but what exactly it is, because AI is a buzzword these days, people keep talking about it. How would you explain your product to a 5-year-old? Oh,
Yeah.
10-year-old.
Yeah, 10 years is easy because my son is 10 years old.
Awesome.
See, we want the way we talk. See, I can see you, I can hear you, I can talk to you. We want everything to talk, whether it's a camera or it's a factory or it's your washing machine, it's your fridge, it's your air conditioner. Everything should talk the way human beings talk. Why not? Technology is there. It's just we picked up the technology and we considered technology as a mean to give voice to every device. So that's a purpose we are living with. And last mile could be any, right? Whether it's AI agent, or we call it as virtual assistant, or you just add another user experience layer to existing factory. We have even made the CNC machine talk to the mechanics. So our product, our platform helps give voice and give that natural user experience to a device, make kind of those devices as human as possible.
Right. And this could work for any device?
That's journey. So the computer is the low hanging. Whether it's a computer or mobile device, smartphone, kiosks, we see a lot of screens in the airports and railway station. We make that interactive. And I said we went to the extent where even the machines, the old machines are talking.
Wow.
Yeah. So literally, and whatever I'm saying, it's not the vision. Whatever examples I've given, they are already deployed at scale.
So how did you think about building this? Because before the podcast, we talked about an idea like problem solving. You want to solve a problem. But as a founder, how do you find a big enough problem to solve that can occupy it for 10 years, 15 years? Like the example you get, a lot of founders do something today and something else tomorrow, day after. How did you find out like, hey, I want to do, this is my calling in life. I want to do this for next 10, 15 years. How was that journey?
I think thanks for asking this. I think all answers, all ambiguities, all successes, entrepreneurship should be based on discussion. And answer could vary. I cannot tell because I can. What is yours? Yeah, mine was to really see. I wanted the same. I wanted everything to talk, and so now how big is that problem? As I was telling, like the problem is big enough because first, if you see the low hanging as enterprises, so they had a lot of consumers coming to them. So first, make sure the devices, whatever are, so they are talking on behalf of the company, helping their consumers or helping their leads or prospects. So is that a big enough problem? It is. So you can think about as entrepreneur, probably you want to do for a specific sector, or you want to do for all businesses, or you want to do for society at large. And why this is important, see, if you have the big enough problem to solve, then everything will fall in place because you have the larger purpose. And whether you call it as entry barrier and how would team come to you, all of that would go away because you have picked up the problem. It's not in your mind. It's not like you got a dream, I want to create this product and then I'll go to the market to try to find the customers for that product. Right? It's about you have seen the problem and any people are facing that problem. And then you evaluate, is it big enough problem? Are customers or people ready to pay for the solution? There can be few problems, big enough problem. I don't want to sleep. Maybe that can be a problem to solve. But so whatever problem you pick up, is it big enough? Can we make business out of it? Customers are ready to pay. So then when you pick that and you're passionate about it, then people would probably join you because they also would relate, hey, this is a problem I'm facing or my parents are facing. See, when you see you asked, I think, explain your product as if you're explaining to 10 years old kid. I think Einstein had told once, right? So if you can explain to 10 years old kid, means you really understood your problem. But I don't think that way. So 10-year kid is now more tech savvy.
Yeah.
Right? Now I think it should shift my grandmother. Can my mother? Can you into your damn?
Sure.
Right? So if and I'll tell you, this is what I was thinking. And recently we closed a deal with one of the biggest universities, and the founder, the owner of that company, asked me, "Ankush, yes, I'm signing up with this. But still, if I go back to my home and my grandmother would ask, so you're spending, say, this much amount, and is that worth? What should he tell his grandmother where you are investing this much amount? Can you explain that?" It really came, and that I had to answer, and I think I answered well, and that's why.
So it's like a business ROI case to a grandmother.
Yeah.
That's a very unique way of looking at it, actually.
10 years old is tech savvy.
Yeah, explaining it is one part, but explaining a business case to somebody who's not native is a difficult proposition.
There is not much difference.
Sure.
Business and that. If you really explain and you say, yeah, it's a good problem to solve. And usually most of the humans are saying, we might think, I am better and all that. 70-80% are saying.
Right.
All dogs not saying. All Shih Tzus are not saying.
Yeah. It's an interesting way of thinking about it. Yeah, absolutely.
And 20% difference would be there.
Sure.
But if one grandmother understands the problem, I think the other people also would have the same problem.
Right.
And if you really solve the problem, then means you can make a business out.
Yeah. So for you, I just have one question I still ask. Because you worked in corporate, in big companies for 15, 16 years, that helped you to find this problem. You realize that, hey, like you already knew a lot of customers and realized that, hey, there's the problem, one big problem they are facing. Now I want to solve it.
Yes.
Any thoughts on how can young founders find a big enough problem? Because they don't have your experience, like someone who's fresh out of college or 24, 25.
Yeah, 3-4 years of work experience,
So
right?
been worked with for 20 years, doesn't know what are the big problems. So any thoughts on, is it even possible for them to solve such problems?
So you're right. For me, it was not a risk and it was a known problem. And for others to find a problem, first of all, do they really have to search for the problem? Why do they have to get into entrepreneurship?
Right.
So means it should really be kind of calling that it should come to them, right? They really have to solve the problem, right? If they think this as a process, then it's questionable. And why? Usually, right? We live in a society at home, we go out. There are a lot of problems, right? Even if you think, let's do an exercise, 2 minutes exercise, we'll find a lot of problems.
Right.
Why do we need, for the podcast, why do we need these 6 cameras? Right? Why do you still need to have these stands and lights?
Why can't one camera do it?
Yeah.
Maybe. Why there's any way we get away with this stands?
Right.
So I think if there are enough, environment gives us a lot of problems, but it's about which one I choose, right? Which environment I live in. So there are signals of a lot of problems. Now, where is my calling? Where I resonate well with that problem, right? Even if it's a big problem to solve, but I'm not in this camera field and this showbiz probably field. I might not be enticed to solve that problem.
Right.
So it should be a personality, or I really
You should relate to the problem. That's what you're basically saying.
be able to relate that problem, because you have hundreds of reasons to fail,
Sure.
and you will fail. And what will still make you kind of be around and
Sure.
get stuck with that?
So very, very, very nicely put. I have another. I just want to pick your brain here. You worked at Wipro, you worked at BFSI, you worked at Finsta. You worked in a lot of BFSI settings where is a large platform play. And as somebody who's sold in a lot of places across the world, the platform sales game is a nightmare. I mean, vertical things, sliver, niche solutions are always easier to plug in, more into enterprises than in mid-market.
Sorry, what do you mean by platform sales?
So, for example, he talked about Bankaway. Bankaway is a core banking system.
Okay.
So that goes into, basically it's a core banking system that affects a lot of other systems inside a bank. So it's a platform. So you have vertical SaaS as well as horizontal SaaS. For instance, the vertical businesses are easier to plug into because the use cases are finite and it limits its interaction to certain amount of systems. In horizontal, you are basically going into the core of the business, interacts with their own systems and external systems. So horizontal platforms are traditionally very difficult to sell because if you're going to go to, say, a bank CIO or a CTO, he's already got a lot of things going on. And getting another platform, getting a team to evaluate a platform, deprioritizing some of his things to look at a new platform is very, very challenging. I'm talking about banking as an example, but it could be the same in telco, healthcare, etc. How difficult was it to sell? And I know we can talk about it for hours. We can't trivialize this, but I think I really want to get into, I mean, it's like a one sales guy to a non-sales guy, tech guy, but how was it you talked about the size of the problem.
Yeah.
We all understand the size of the problem. But how difficult was it to kind of lift it, position it, sell it, and get the deal done?
Yeah. Selling, whether as horizontal play or vertical solution, see, it's always easy to focus on one vertical. So we started with travel vertical, and our tagline was, we take stress out of travel. So the CoRover, if you ask me the meaning, that also comes with the travel. So we started with travel, focused on travel. We reached out to travel companies, IRCTC, kind of agreed. And then COVID hit.
Sure.
Literally zero, revenue became zero. And fortunately, we got call from NPCI. NPCI was inbound. We didn't reach out. So we could deliver to them in a week's time. Then we have done around 3-4 projects building AI agents for NPCI. We thought we just added another vertical in just week's time. And then our AI agent is now live with 70 plus packs. Then we started getting a lot of inbound. Then we also had less resources. Then we started saying yes to any company coming to us. So then we thought maybe we were wrong focusing in one vertical. Then we thought, okay, now let's think this as a horizontal solution, as a conversational AI platform, and then we would be agnostic to any vertical. And so we are everywhere, whether it's defense or healthcare or travel, BFSI education. So but now here we're thinking it's a too wide problem to solve. Now we are consolidating again and focusing on few verticals. So what sells, what doesn't sell as theory? Yes, it's easy to sell verticalized solution, but every product, every situation is different, right? So our resources, maybe our reference, so all of that would matter. So I would not generalize. And I'll tell you, even say if you go to a top bank in a country, right? If you have given a solution to them, if you go to another bank, so it should be easy, right? We have solved for a top bank and you are probably sure. So no, they say, no, it's totally different.
Yeah,
Right?
got it.
So think about Infosys and Wipro. So right, when we used to work in, say, Wipro, then when we used to meet, and we used to envy in key campus.
Yeah, I know.
So, but you talk to people in Infosys, they say, no, we're totally different. Right? So sometimes even same kind of companies doesn't work. Right? So now what product you have, how easy is to change the vertical, if you really have the strong configurability, customization and all that. So it's kind of case to case, it would vary. So what's your strength, what references you have, and how easy is to actually go live. So if you see some client, so on insurance, when we went live with LIC. We didn't have any insurance company in our portfolio. Then they asked, will you be able to deliver?
Will you deliver?
Yes, it was a big question. We said we'll do in 3 days. So they asked, give in writing, we would be able to deliver in 3 days. We did. We gave in writing and we delivered.
And this was which year, Ankush?
3 years ago.
Okay.
2-3 years ago. So we did. So then we thought, okay, it's easy. Right? So it's easy. So I think I'm not sure which is as a horizontal solution or vertical solution. Depends on various circumstances, and you have to take your call based on your situation and your outreach and the trust which you have gathered in the market.
This was a blast. I mean, I don't have any other words, but thank you for taking the time so much. And I think we are living in very interesting times. And I think the force of good that CoRover, Bharat GPT and you're doing is unbelievable. And we wish you all the best. Thanks for taking the time out. We are sitting in an amazing space. We are much indebted to Beehive for this location. Thank you all. See you next time.